and welcome. I'm the one and only West Coast King, and welcome back to another Major League 90, where we are talking Major League Soccer. And today, we're almost to the halfway point in the season. Not quite, but I thought we'd use this international break that we're in right now. One of the rare international breaks in the MLS. Don't usually get a lot of these, but it's nice to have a little break every now and then. I thought we'd use this international break to kind of reevaluate or look at where teams are at heading into the second half of the season. What teams in the upper half of the tables are poised to make that playoff push? What teams are looking like they might fall out of that playoff spot? And what teams in the bottom half could maybe turn their seasons around? So we're going to reevaluate kind of every single team in the league and kind of talk about what's going on with that team and if they have what it takes to make the playoffs. So we're going to be splitting this thing up into two separate parts. Today, we're taking a look at the Eastern Conference, and tomorrow, the exact same time, part 2 will be out, looking at the Western Conference, so let's get into it. So let's get this thing started in the Eastern Conference, where Philadelphia sit atop the table. And honestly, if you would have told me that through 14 games, that Philadelphia would be the front runner in the Eastern Conference, I would have called you a filthy liar. I remember I picked them, I think, to finish 7th or 8th in the Eastern Conference. However, I did see a little bit of potential there. I said they were still maybe a year away. I liked the composition of that team, but I just didn't think they had what it took to put it all together right away. I was wrong. Philadelphia looked like a very strong team, at the very least, the most consistent team in the Eastern Conference right now, and that's going to go a long way. You look at all the other teams, very, very inconsistent throughout the Eastern Conference. If one team can pull away and just be consistent and pick up points every single game, even if it's not a pretty performance, but instead of a loss, they pick up a point with a draw, they're going to win the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia right now look to be that team. In second place, the New York Red Bulls. What a turnaround it has been for them. Again, aided a little bit by the fact that they're in the Eastern Conference and there is no real true front runner right now. I know I talked about Philadelphia maybe being that team, still yet to be seen, but there's no consistency in the Eastern Conference, and that's helped New York. I don't want to take away what they've done. They've been incredible since what, their 0-7 start or something like that. It was just awful start for New York, but like I said, like I thought at the beginning of the season, it would take some time for that team to kind of refine themselves, if you will, and kind of put it back together after they lost Miazga, and it didn't look good going into the season. Maybe a little bit of a confidence issue there with New York. They seem to have turned it around. BWP scoring goals. They figured out how to defend again, and they're on a mad hot streak. One of the hottest teams in the league right now. I definitely think they'll be around when the playoffs come, pushing for that top spot in the Eastern Conference. Third place is Montreal, and honestly, not a lot to talk about with them. They're kind of just, they're there. I don't think that they're going to really fall out of the playoffs. I don't think that they're going to push for a top spot in the East as well. Third or fourth place just kind of seems what they're going to be. They have the talent to finish there. Consistency is an issue, as is with every team in the Eastern Conference right now, but I definitely think when the playoffs come around, they'll definitely be there as well. In fourth place, maybe the most intriguing story of the Eastern Conference right now is NYCFC, the team of past their prime legends. I don't want to be disrespectful there. Those players have been great in the past, in their primes, some of the best players in the world. You got to call it like it is, though. They are past their prime, and I didn't really think that team was going to work. Honestly, I really didn't. I still don't think that it is. Again, Eastern Conference is not the most competitive. It's not the better league, I don't think. And I don't want to be disrespectful again. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or take a shot at anyone. But in the Eastern Conference, with 18 points, they're in 4th place. It's not all that impressive. What we're really talking about here, though, is they're the worst defensive team in the league. By far the worst defensive team in the league, giving up 29 goals through 15 games. That is atrocious. I don't know if that is going to be able to get them to the playoffs. Honestly, writing that kind of a philosophy of we're just going to try to outscore everyone, and if we don't, we take a loss, but we're just going to try to win more games than we lose. I don't know. They can't be competitive every single game like that. Sometimes they're going to take blowout losses because they can't defend, and mostly it's coming at home. They're awful at home. 1-3-5, 1 win, 3 losses, 5 draws. They're not getting it done at home, and that's a major problem. Could have something to do with that field being a bit wonky at home. I don't really know, but if they don't start stopping people, they're going to stop themselves. 5th place, Toronto FC. I honestly thought this was going to be Toronto's year. In the Eastern Conference, I thought maybe this could be the year of Toronto, and I picked them to finish second just behind Columbus, and we'll get to them eventually because they're quite a ways down in the table, but Toronto are just, they're Toronto again. They just don't put it together. I would say top to bottom, they stack up against any team talent-wise on paper with anyone in the MLS. I don't think there's a single team that can say they have more talent than Toronto. They just don't seem to get the results. They have to rely on Giovinco. He seems to be the only one doing anything offensively. Altidore is kind of resolved to just kind of taking a back seat to Altidore, or to Giovinco, and kind of supplying his goal scoring instead of really kind of going and looking for his own. They need a second consistent threat on that team, and Altidore is not giving them that. I don't know what his deal is, but I can understand why he's been kind of left off the national team. Again, kind of with an injury. He's dealing with injuries here and there, as he always does. But, and I don't want to lay this all on Jozy Altidore. I happen to really like the guy. Just whatever it is, he seems to really fit on that team because they're just not getting it done. And lately, that just seems to be Altidore's MO. He's not getting it done either. But I thought they could get it this year. I really thought that they were going to get it done. Again, they're in 5th place, just typical Toronto. In 6th place, DC United. And I thought maybe DC had a shot at making the playoffs. If they could survive the first part of the season without Bill Hamid, and they have. Bill Hamid is back now, and they look to be a little bit better. I thought maybe they could hold on long enough to be able to stick around to make a playoff spot. They seem to be doing that. They are one of the better defensive teams in the league. Goal scoring is where they're going to have their problems, and they've had their problems this season. They don't have a very good, consistent goal scoring threat. I think that they might need a striker if they are going to be a threat in the playoffs or even make the playoffs. They need someone that's going to go get their goals. Right now, I don't think they really have that. So those are the top 6, the teams that are currently in the playoff spots in the Eastern Conference. So now moving down below that red line, in 7th place is Orlando City. I still think that they're going to be a playoff team. I really, really do. One of the better offensive teams in the league. So many threats going forward with Larin, Molino, obviously Kaká as well. They've got one of the better midfields in the game. I just think they're one of the more balanced teams. I think that they will be around. They need to defend a little bit better. Just get a couple more clean sheets here and there, I think would really benefit them. But I still think that they're going to be a playoff team. I still think that they're better than DC United. They might even be better than Toronto. Just need to see a little bit, again, in the Eastern Conference. I say that all the time, but they need to be a little bit more consistent. And in 8th place, we have New England. I talked about them, I don't know, like a month ago when they picked up Kei Kamara from Columbus. I said that I didn't really think that move made sense for them. They were the worst defensive team in the league at the time. They picked up another striker, and in that striker, someone that tends to be a bit of a nuisance in the locker room, tends to disrupt the team chemistry a little bit. Honestly, I didn't think that move made any sense for them. They did pick him up. They turned it around for a little bit, but did it really improve the team? No. They're still in the same spot they were before. They're still one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Mediocre offensively, and now they just have a potential problem waiting to happen with the team chemistry revolving around Kei Kamara. So, honestly, I don't think New England's a playoff team. If they do make the playoffs, I honestly, would I be surprised? Not really. I mean, they do have a very talented roster, but I just haven't seen enough out of them to say that I think that they will make the playoffs. 9th place, Columbus Crew. This is the team I picked to finish first in the preseason in the Eastern Conference. They've struggled coming out of the gates, and mostly the problem was Kei Kamara. We just talked about him. They pulled off the rare addition by subtraction, though. They got rid of that problem. They seem to be turning things around. They replaced one Kamara with another, and Ola Kamara now seems to step in. He's scoring goals. If he can continue to do that and lead the team from the front, keep getting him the ball, keep scoring goals as a team, they might be okay. Defensively, they still have some problems, though. Need to fix that a little bit. But I think once they get their confidence back, I think they've had a major lack of confidence in Columbus. Coming out of the gate slow, team chemistry and morale just being low. I think that they kind of boosted now, and I do think they'll turn it around. I still think that they're a playoff team. And then in last place, number 10, the Chicago Fire. And they're not good. The last place, obviously, they're not good, but I don't think that they're bad either. I can kind of see the vision that they're going for here. I can see where they're going, but they're not going to get there this season. I think right now their philosophy right now, just kind of don't get the crap kicked out of us. That's kind of what they're aiming for. They're just kind of sitting back, playing defense for the most part, trying not to give up a ton of goals, and not really worrying about the offensive side. They're not pushing forward and trying to get those goals to win games. Okay, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but maybe if they can build that defense and they get that confidence that, okay, we're kind of settled here. We're not gonna give up a million goals. Maybe let's start trying a couple of things moving forward. Get a couple of goals. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't finish in last place. Now, they're one of only 2 teams that have less goals than games played. They're averaging less than a goal per game. That's not good, but I do think some of the offensive talent they have, they should be able to get goals eventually. I think they might be able to lift themselves out of the cellar this season. If not, next season, I definitely don't think that they'll finish in last place. So that is going to be a wrap on the Eastern Conference. In my opinion, I really don't see any team getting left in the dust, and I really don't see any team running away with it either. I think it's going to come down to the last few weeks of the season, and I believe my pick is going to be that the New York Red Bulls end up winning the Eastern Conference, taking first place. Probably not a supporter shield showing from them, but I still think they're going to be good enough to win the Eastern Conference. So, as always, leave me your thoughts, feedback, comments down in the comments below. I'll respond to as many as possible, but that is going to do it for this one. If you did enjoy it, make sure to let me know by leaving a like below. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you when we come back for the Western Conference recap tomorrow. See ya.